Hey guys, I just had a relationship conversation. I've had plenty. We all have. The thing that came to mind is when we're talking about loyalty, dedication, um, not cheating, all that kind of stuff. I think that at the core of that is understanding. If we don't understand each other, we're free. We find a gap, saying, okay, I'm not happy with the relationship I'm in, so I swim through the gap and I go ahead and have extracurricular activity, which is an imperative to the relationship, even if it's not found out. Mentally, I think it is, because that pulls your dedication. So when you talk about being committed in even a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, that's not saying, okay, I'm not going to cheat on somebody else or cheat with somebody else or do something. I'm loyal to you. I won't have sex with anybody else. For me, it's a commitment to build a relationship. And I think we've skated away from that generationally, where it's okay. It's okay to not sleep with other people, but not be dedicated to the relationship. And that's why we have such a huge breakup rate, huge divorce rate. Well, the divorce rate, I think, is because women are incentivized to leave their men after they get married financially. And that's where you have the women that have high dollars, nice car, and everything because they took all that shit from their man, living a life of luxury and want to market themselves and find another good guy. But men aren't stupid. I'm just saying they'll take advantage too, or maybe want to be a part of all the excess that you earned from your previous relationship. I just think we're getting away from focusing on what we have in a relationship. Not to say that divorces shouldn't happen. I'm a product of a divorced relationship. For me, it worked out. My dad was the disciplinarian, right? And I respected him when we were family. I didn't quite get along with him. He was more in tune with my brother. Not to get into it deep, but I needed that. I needed the disciplinarian. I needed the disrespect from my older brother to be who I am now. And the thing is, I think current relationships, not male female, but parent child, is we navigated away from having the aspects of what's necessary to bring up a solid child. So there's the nurturing. Typically, the female has it in her genes to nurture, right? Doesn't mean she can't be a badass, but typically the guy has the less emotional, stern, stoic, disciplinarian role. That's by nature, right? We can't change that. And my mother, she took on everything. I was scared of her because she was a badass. Women can do it. That's not debatable. They can take both roles. But typically what I see with these children going crazy and acting foolish is because single parents don't have the balance where they can get their kids scared of them. Not scared like all the time, but you're not supposed to be their best friend. You're supposed to be able to prepare them for life, not be their best friend. If I relied on my best friend to prepare me for life, I'd be in prison. It's totally true. Come on, man. I'd be gangsta as shit. I love my boy, but if I relied on him to bring me up, I'd be in trouble. So you shouldn't have the friendship with your child. You should have a good relationship, but you also need to be the disciplinarian, kick the kid's ass when it's needed. You know, I'm not saying beat their ass, but in some cases, yeah, sure. Best thing I ever thought about is if I had a kid that was acting foolish and shit, and it came to above everything else, I couldn't do anything different, and I had to fucking put a weapon on that kid. I was like, okay, who are you gonna call? They're gonna take you out this house, your luxury life, and put you with some people you don't even know. They're gonna control you, other than me. I'm trying to make you a better person. Whatever you got, it's a gamble for you. So go ahead. But I do think there's people that actually beat the shit out of their kids. That's different. But I just don't think it should have been wiped off the plate that you can't give your kid an ass whooping or a spanking or something like that. That's what I had. That's what my brother had. And we both turned out pretty damn good. That's discipline. It's learning discipline. Now we got kids that are trying to fucking throw knuckles at cops that don't understand discipline or consequence. Right? So I'm talking a lot of shit. I got about 8 videos of just me randomly talking shit. I'm not going to post them all. Maybe I will. Maybe. No. But it's all stuff that we all think about that we're not confident saying. The whole point of starting Men of Values is trying to get people comfortable with talking that shit that is uncomfortable. Right? And I always thought that if I say something that gives you a spark of thought or an opinion, that you're going to share that with other people and have a conversation with them and then get sparked up and share your thoughts. That's the incentive, is to get people to share their thoughts. And if you don't believe in what I say or what you hear on the news, whatever, backtrack, research, and then have a conversation. It's like jujitsu. It's like going back and forth, give and take. And I might get you here in this lock right. I got you. You tap. But next time you might get me. But if we don't do that, we're not going to work towards understanding. If we look at any of the topics right now in social media, on the news, CNN, Fox, whatever you want to choose to follow, there's so many issues we could talk about. But if you don't discuss those issues, you're just being what they call sheep. You're just following. I always tell people that the best thing you can do is have blended news sources, meaning all news is biased. There's a few news outlets that have blended news from both sides, but most of them are biased. So if you make a conscious effort to listen to both sides, let's just say, take the spectrum, Fox, CNN, right? Listen to both sides. You're going to start to think for yourself and be like, hey, wait a second, something ain't right. Something ain't right here. And that's where the true woke comes from. That's where you're like, wait a second, I've been fed this shit for so many years. Woke is not, I support LGBTQRS. I believe that whatever you choose to be, I support that. I totally support that. The idea of calling you Zimzer, her, whatever, that's bullshit to me. I don't need to keep up with that, man. I got other things to worry about. What's your name? Jenny, George, whatever. I'll call you your name. I'll respect you on that one. But don't expect me to say Zimzer, her, she, whatever. I'm not going to do that shit. I'm not going to keep up with it. I'm not going to fall down to bow to you and your emotions. You need to fucking fit in with society. I will respect you by calling you by your name. I think we should all do that. We should all give the respect. And if me saying that makes me transphobic, that's bullshit. I have never been scared of a trans person. There's not one trans person that I said, oh shit, I better get my gun. Never happened. I'm not scared of it. I do feel uncomfortable when I see two men kissing. I'm not going to lie about it. It's just one of those things. And maybe that's for me to get more comfortable with. And that's just being honest. I'm not saying it's wrong for them. Obviously, they appreciate each other. And gay marriage has a higher success rate than straight marriage. So I'm totally supportive of it. If they have a better track record of success, I'm behind it. I totally support it because us straight people can't seem to figure that shit out. Right? It's totally true. But I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. I'm not scared of any of that shit. And whatever you choose to do for your life is fine. It's your life. Government, they shouldn't be sitting here telling me how I need to feel about what you do, or vice versa. Fuck the government. Man, I support everybody following a path that makes them happy. Right? That's what we all need to do. But apparently, the government and the media are stepping in the middle of all this shit and trying to make us angry with each other. If we go back to the 70s, so that's when liberals were peace, love, and happiness, all getting along, smoke some weed, do some LSD, all be happy, group sex, right? Okay, that's cool. But then we look at modern day liberalism with the far left taking control. It's just not the same. It's not accepting. It's denying. It's more Nazi than what they point the fingers at. If you look at Hitler and everything he did to try to control his people, take control, and lead Jewish people to their death, it was his media. It was his media and everything that he did to try to control the mind. So we see that happening right now. What we're doing right now is going to be in the history books later on, hopefully, unless nuclear war happens and we're all wiped out. So what we have to do is take a look at the past and see what's happening right now. You know, they say if you don't understand history, you're going to allow history to happen again. And the propaganda thing, the control of information, is ridiculous. That's the whole point of the conversation I'm trying to start up right now. It's not really a conversation because I'm not allowing anybody to talk back. To allow conversations on these topics is very important because otherwise we are led by what we're told. And if we don't have contrasting views, we're not going to be challenged on what we believe. We're just going to be sheep. And that's for Republicans, that's for Democrats, that's for progressives and conservatives. If we just allow the information to come in and say, okay, I believe with that, that's my team, I'm tribal, right? It's bullshit. Think. Think. The whole point of me doing any of the videos I do is to get people thinking. It's not to get people agreeing with me. You can disagree with so much stuff that I've said on the videos I've done before. And half of it, I look back and I disagree with it, things I said 2 months ago. The whole point is to get people talking. So if you watch one of the videos I've done and it raises an eyebrow, you're like, what the fuck? Grab a friend. Rewind, watch it with your friend. Have a discussion. That's what it's meant to do, is to get people talking. And I've yet to see somebody stepping back into my fucking email and saying, hey, Scott Rockford, you said this and it's completely fucked up and I hate it because you're racist or something like that. Nobody's giving me feedback, right? My whole intent is to get discussions happening among close people. I don't care about discussions for people that are in college, the far left and the far right. I don't want to get those people together. It's not my job. I don't give a shit. You guys should, by nature, be able to get along, but you don't. You choose not to. That's your fault. My idea is to get people that are close to one another, to get them over the hurdles of discussion so they can better understand each other's views instead of being opposing, like going to Thanksgiving. Well, I hate Uncle George because he's a far right, he came to Thanksgiving with a fucking hood on. Fuck him, right? But you should take steps to understand, dude, why you got the fucking hood on Thanksgiving? What is your problem? Let's talk about it. What is your issue with adhering to a group to have solidarity, which we're all victims of? We all want to be a part of a group. Why, Uncle George, do you want to be a part of this group? You might have just turned that shit around. There's something on Netflix where there's a black guy that infiltrated the KKK, right? And made best friends, right? So it's all about the individual relationships. It's not about this tribal bullshit that we're tuned in to follow. You know, I've been friends with people that honestly hate white people. And I've been friends with people that honestly hate black people. I've been friends with people that just are filled with hate. And it's because they have other characteristics I appreciate and I can look past it and I do want to have a discussion with them about why do you have that feeling? Why? Why do you turn off yourself to a certain sect of society because you have these feelings? And it's not, I'm not a therapist. I'm not trying to work them past that, but I just want to ask the question because that's the big problem we have in society right now is where people turn their whole shit off to being a part of this other group or turn this whole group off. Like, I hate these people, you know, and they call it, it's not, I don't want to say it's racist, it's prejudicial, meaning you prejudge. And by nature, we all do that. That means that if you have a non venomous snake bite you, you're like, fuck that. I'm not playing with snakes. Because there's enough venomous snakes that bite you and kill you. You're like, I ain't fucking with it. That's prejudice. And that's a defense mechanism that we all have, right? So if you look at the police that are quick to pull a gun, well, they pull over enough black people where they're threatened because they're non-compliant. Whatever. We saw cops back in the 90s. Cops put out mostly white people misbehaving, like trailer park stuff, and not complying, and they got shot. Nobody learned from that. Nobody learned from George Floyd either, right? The idea of being non-compliant is like you're taking away my manhood. Well, they have to secure the situation to make sure they can go home to their family. It's not taking away your manhood, it's securing their life. And that applies to white people, black people, Mexican, Hawaiian, whatever you want to call it. The police are doing what they need to do to make sure they can go home to their family, right? And if you're non-compliant, you try to run away, especially if you have previous gun charges that they see on their computer in their Impala, they're going to be apprehensive. I will never give credit to the woman that, forget his name, shot him in Brooklyn Park. That was bullshit. She thought it was a taser, whatever. Beyond that and everything. Everybody needs to focus on the person next to you first, right? Whether it's black, Mexican, Asian, whatever. Focus on the people that are next to you inside your group, man. And if all you have is black people in your group, all you have is white people in your group, all you have is Asian people in your group, take steps to try to understand what's happening outside of your circle. You know, because otherwise the media is going to take control and make us all hate each other. I don't I don't hate black people. I don't hate white people. I don't hate Asians. I love individuals. Right? Individuals. Now there's some black people I hate, there's some Asian people I hate, there's some white people I hate. It's the individuals that I want to keep in my life. Like, we can say that for sure for everybody. Like, you grew up in high school, you're so popular, everybody loves you and everything, but you had 1,000 people like you and want you to sign their yearbook and all that shit. When you get done with that, who's the true people that you keep in your life? The ones that are closest to you, right? So that's what we should be thinking about. The people that are closest to us. We need to find a way to understand if they disagree with us on this bullshit. Let's talk about it. And if we still, at the end of the conversation, don't agree, we agree to be cool. Right? Like I said, I have friends that don't agree with me, and they're a little abrasive sometimes, but that doesn't matter. We're comfortable enough where we can have the conversation and then end the conversation without argument or a fight. It's more of a debate and then move forward and still spend time together and be happy. But it seems like with this tribalism shit, everybody just wants to fight each other, you know. And if we talk about all the crime that's happening, it's more like it's not people fighting for Minnesota. It's not people fighting for Blaine. It's not people fighting for Northeast Minneapolis or South Minneapolis. It's people fighting for the block. Then it's people fighting for the family. Then it's people fighting for the house. The thing is, y'all fight for no fucking reason. It doesn't have to happen, right? If we find a way to just understand each other, territory, whatever, unless it comes to money and you're selling drugs, I get it. If somebody's trying to impede on your territory and you're selling drugs, you're hustling, you shouldn't be doing that shit anyway. But then there's reason to control your environment. But when it comes to political shit, stop it. Stop it. And I think people accusing everybody of being racist or Nazi, all that bullshit, if they disagree with them, I had this in my mind, and it's really crazy that I was thinking getting involved with politics on a local level. I'm like, man, then my past is gonna come up. All these videos that I do are gonna come up. Oh man, there's no way, no way. But in the videos, what I represent is a sense of unity, getting past the bullshit and coming together. You know, it's almost anti-government the way I say it. You know, it's like we got to get past this shit, have discussions, and I don't want to say I'm being sexist, but I'm like, women, step the fuck aside. Let some men do their shit. You know, it's not disrespected. They can be a part of the conversation too. But we have to get back to men, being strong men. Instead of, sitting at home playing video games and not dating. I hear a lot about that where guys in their 20s don't even date because they don't feel like they're good enough for anything. Fucking put down the fucking remote controller, get out there, get a haircut, socialize, see what happens. Get your ass out there. Be a fucking man, not a pussy. But I see what's happening with society is they're trying to take away masculinity, trying to make you more of a pussy. And guys with low testosterone, don't accept it. Fix it, you know. And try to be submissive to this woman shit. If you agree with it, that's fine. But you don't have to be a part of that clique, man. Be a man first. Then you have more value to bring to that group. But if you're a bend over pussy in the wind, you don't bring value to shit because you're not a strong person. So work on being a man. I'm not so much tonight. I'm drinking beer, talking shit. But from day to day, I see too much of this buckling, to give in, just giving in, just being weak, man. It's okay if that's what you want to do, but I think eventually it's going to come back to the whole idea that not everybody gets a trophy. And it might be the collapse of society. So these people that got trophies, if society collapses to any degree, who's going to have who's going to hold the cards? Honestly, It's not the single mothers. It's not the guys that are being given in. It's going to be the men. The men that built society, the men that built this country. If anybody has a debate on that, drop a message. Seriously. Because I know there's women that know jujitsu, they have guns, they're badass, they know how to fight Muay Thai. I know all that, but that's rare. But the greater proportion of society wants to complain. A small group of men that are like, fuck that, you know. But the people that want to complain, if shit goes south, guess what's going to happen? They're going to run to people that are masculine. Be like, protect me. Fuck you. You got some corn pops or something? What are you going to bring to the table? Otherwise, no. So that was a joke. The whole idea is we have to find a way to get along and make each other stronger. Not give in like I'm a male feminist, then you're a pussy. You just told me you're a pussy. You're not standing up for the man that you are and saying it's okay, woman, or women, if you want to excel, if you want to do better and be better, I'm going to support you. But I'm still going to be a man. I'm not going to be a male feminist, but I will support you in everything that you want to do. When you need help, you call me because I'm a strong man. I'm going to help you with it. Not that given male feminist shit. I'm sorry. I'm saying. Seems like America's cultivated a big fat sack of pussies. I'm not saying I'm a strong dude. Well, yeah. In comparison, I am. Um, Aside from my surgery, I purple belt in jiu-jitsu, just got it, and I really don't even qualify for it. But I work stand-up sparring, which is pugilistic skills. I'm good at that. I shoot guns. I have guns. Um, I try to be understanding of everybody that I encounter, what their views are. We just don't have that nowadays. Where it's okay to be manly, do some manly shit, and still try to be understanding of everything else that's not manly. Like I said, I'm not broad-chested badass. Well, I do lift weights too for 30 years, almost 30. Yeah, about 30 years. But to be a keyboard warrior and talk shit like you can beat somebody's ass really upsets me. Or I think it's like engraved in a man's head where if he's upset enough, he thinks he can beat the shit out of anybody, right? Well, wait a second, and that's where I'm less likely to get into a fight in public is because, well, wait a second, have you trained at all? Do you know how to throw a good punch? Or are you just waiting for that lucky punch? Do you have endurance? Like if it goes more than 30 seconds, are you going to be huffing and puffing where I could just take one shot and you're done? I mean, what's going to happen? But your ego, a male's ego, tells him that he can kick somebody's ass. It's not the reality. And nowadays, there's skinny guys that I've trained with that look chill, look totally cool, laid back, and small, not muscular, but they can fuck you up, you know. And that's the thing. It's like there's nothing stopping anybody from joining that bandwagon. And like I said, there's been women I know that do that they're badasses too. But if shit hits the fan, where are you gonna be? You're like, oh man, I wish I trained for Muay Thai. I wish I went for walks more than I did because my endurance is shit. And I wish I stocked up on macaroni and cheese because I have no food. So if the shit hits the fan, then what? You ain't getting shit. You ain't taking shit. You don't have shit. get fucked, right? So the people that, like I said, the women that know jujitsu or Muay Thai, how to fight, you know, if shit hits the fan where we're all scrapping for anything we can get, the people that are complaining the most are going to lose the most because there's going to be somebody right there ready to take it from them. Survival of the fittest. And it's all about preparation. I'm not saying, hopefully, it never comes to that, but instead of being a whiner complainer, why don't you work on your shit to make yourself a better person first? Then you can look at the group of whiners that you came from and say, look, pussies, grow the fuck up, right? Separate yourself from the victims. Become a victor. I just don't see that happening enough. The population of American society that's complaining is bursting at the seams, right? And that's disheartening, to say the least. I've talked enough. That's what I'm saying. We need to work on.